In this video, I'll be making an easy, cheesy holiday ham and potato casserole served with a green salad. This is a great casserole for any holiday dinner, but especially for Easter dinner, of course. It is also a great use for leftover ham from a holiday brunch or dinner.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to be notified when there's new videos. Comments welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so to start this off, I'm going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. And this is going to be my first time making this recipe, so we'll see how it goes. It is a chef-drawn recipe, so I know that it can be good. I'll just have to make it right. And I think in this case, even if I don't make it right, it will still taste good. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to get my damp paper towel down for my cutting board so it doesn't slide around. And for this recipe, there's no meat to prep really because we're using deli sliced ham. So I don't need to do that. I'm going to start right out with the potatoes. And I'm going to weigh these out. And I'm going to be making a half recipe. Or actually, yeah, I'm going to be making a half recipe. The original recipe is for a 10 by 15 pan. I'm pretty sure you could stuff it in a pretty deep 9 by 13. But I'm going to put this in an 8 by 8 glass pan. So it's probably going to be a little full. So I'm measuring out 2 1/4 pounds of russet potatoes. And I'm just going to check the recipe here. Make sure how much I need. And yeah, it's 4 1/2 pounds. What the recipe calls for. So yeah, 2 1/4, which is about what I got. 2 pounds 4 ounces. The recipe calls for these to be peeled and sliced, which I'm going to do. Next time I might try it with the skins on, but I'm going to do it the way the recipe calls for this time. And you may want to do that anyway for. I probably would for if I was serving it to company as well, unless it's family, maybe. Leave the skins on. Okay, now to slice these potatoes, I'm going to use a mandolin, or a little, vegetable slicer. We just have kind of a cheapy one up here, I hope, somewhere. Need a little bit to find it. Make sure you have the little plastic handguard thingy. At least when you're making videos, as Jeff John would say. Then I'm going to put the slices in a bowl so I can cover them with water so they don't turn brown while they're sitting till I get the thing put together and in the oven. And I probably should have used a little bit smaller bowl so the mandolin would fit on it a little better. I'm just figuring out how to adjust it again here. I don't use it that often. Just has basic height adjustment there. And I'm right-handed, so definitely want to have it that way. I was actually just trying to see if it opened any more, but that's as thick as this one will do, so that's about okay. That's like 1/8 of an inch. Also, you want to make sure you're using that handguard slider thing the right way instead of the wrong way. Like, there we go. Like I said, smaller bowl next time. You can get a real nice mandolin, of course, but I don't use it very often, so I don't really want to spend a lot of money on one. In fact, doing potatoes for casseroles like this is about the only thing I use it for. I think I'm learning here. This is definitely faster and more accurate than doing cutting them by hand. For something like this, you do really want to get the slices, equal thickness, so that way they're all done at the same time. Okay, so I'm just going to fill this so it covers up the potatoes so they don't oxidize and turn brown. And I safely made it through peeling and slicing the potatoes. So I used a razor sharp peeler and a mandolin without cutting myself. That's a pretty good accomplishment. Okay, let's get out a medium saucepan. This is going to be to make the sauce. It goes on here. The sauce is basically a roux and then half heavy cream and half milk. And the roux is going to be with butter and flour, of course. And of course, I'm halving the recipe, so I'm going to start off melting the butter. Okay, the recipe calls for some yellow onions, and I happen to have some, so I'm going to use one. Now it calls for a cup for the whole recipe, so that'd be a half cup. And basically that's one whole onion, and in my case it's going to be a half onion. So I'm just going to put a fairly small dice on this since it's going in the sauce. So hopefully that's about a half cup. Getting it close enough. Making sure. We'll get those started in the pan. Butter is pretty much melted. And I've just got this on a medium heat. Throw a little salt. Get those onions sweating a little bit. Heavy cream. I've got some sharp cheddar back there in the drawer. Now the full recipe calls for 8 ounces of cheese. That's for the 9 or 10 by 15. I don't think that's enough cheese, so I'm gonna double the cheese, and I'm gonna use 8 ounces in my half recipe. Now this chunk is, I think, about 10 ounces. It's been used previously. So let's just see. Yep, 10.4. So I'm just going to cut a couple ounces off that. Pretty good. In fact, I think that was exactly 2 ounces. Should have weighed that and see what it was. I think you definitely want to use your grated cheese here. Grate your own cheese here. This is kind of like mac and cheese. If you use the pre-grated stuff, it has cornstarch on it or whatever, and kind of makes a chalky texture. Or of course, you can use whatever you got. Just check on our onions here. Want to make sure they don't burn or something. So I'm going to go in with a couple tablespoons flour. Then I'll just mix that in good with the butter and cook it for a little bit. So here's my ham that I just got. And I bought a pound. It's on sale for $5 a pound, $4.98 I think. And it is Black Forest ham, Hormel Black Forest. I think ideal for this from the deli would be the ham off the bone. That wasn't on sale. But you could use honey ham, you could Hawaiian ham, honey smoked ham, whatever. I even think probably chopped ham. Nobody would even know. And then, like I said, use leftover ham. Just dice it up. So see, we're just going to lay it on in layers, so it'd be easy enough just to throw on some diced ham. Although I do like the thin slice stuff, because you can cut right through it real easy. But if it's already diced, you'll be able to cut right through it. If you were trying to hand slice the ham from a ham, that wouldn't work very good, I don't think. Unless you're a really good slicer or have a meat slicer. Okay, we're just going to measure out the heavy cream. Now really you don't have to worry about this forming lumps. If you're pouring the roux is hot, the cream is cold, so you're safe doing it either one is hot and the other's cold. You're good to go. And of course, you can just claim if there's any lumps, you can just say, well, it's onions. Famous chefs told me that, I think. Just blame it on the onions. And I'm using whole milk. If you wanted to make it a little less rich, you could use, some 2%, 1% or something. But I think it's better to make it a little creamy. And you probably could just use half and half for the whole thing. That's basically half heavy cream, half milk. But heavy cream and milk are two things to keep around, especially the heavy cream. Because if you have heavy cream and you don't have milk, you can just mix the cream 50-50 with water and get a pretty good substitute for most things. Okay, let's grate the nutmeg in there. This one's already half grated from last time. I don't know how much that is, but it looks good. Going with about 1/8 of it each with a cayenne. Dried thyme. Since we're substituting dried for the fresh, we want to use about 1/4 what the recipe wants. Then what we want to do is just kind of bring this up to just a slight boil, just a simmer. I got it a little hot there, so I'm going to pull it off the burner. You don't want to really boil it. You got the heavy cream and stuff in there, and if you boil that for very long, you're going to end up breaking it's going to end up separating. Some salt. I do need to heat this though to get it, to thicken it up some. And we're going to do a splash of Worcestershire sauce. I think that sauce is thick enough for now. Probably thicken more and then thin when everything breaks in the when it's baking. That's usually a problem I have with these like scalloped potatoes au gratin, is that the sauce breaks before the potatoes are done cooking. So we start out our layers here with about 1/4 of the sauce or so, I don't know, just a good coating of sauce there. Now I do want to drain the potatoes. We don't want a lot of water in here. Probably be better to have drained them or had them sitting in the sink draining, but oh well, I don't have time for that today. I'm already late. I'll get this situated yet. Okay, so now we just want to make a layer with about 1/3 of the potatoes. And if you're thinking ahead, you could sort through the potatoes and find the best ones and save them for the top layer. But I actually don't think it would matter much at all. I think the most important thing is probably to save enough for the top layer so that you can completely cover it. Now that's because to add some salt on the top of here. So the potatoes are totally unsalted at first. And I will say at this point that I think it came out, it might have been a little salty. Of course, my tastes are changing as I use less sodium, so it's up to you how much salt you want to put on there. Because there is salt in the sauce, there's salt in the cheese. So you might go easy on the salt and on the potatoes. So now we get a layer of cheese on. And now we're only going to be doing 2 layers of the cheese and the ham. Well, no, we do 3 of the cheese. We only do 2 of the ham, 3 of the cheese. So you want to do like 1/3 of the cheese. And right here's where I realized I forgot the ham. Luckily, it's pretty easy to peel the potatoes off at this point. Since I do have a pound there, I'm just going to go ahead and weigh it. That way what's left will be 1/2 pound too, so I'll just take out 8 ounces. Actually, let's check it. 1.13. So yeah, we're going to take out about 8 ounces. Pretty close. All right, so we're just going to lay out half the ham here. This first layer of ham. So this is where you do want the thin slices, or if you were using leftover ham, I would dice it up pretty, small chunks. Small little bite-sized chunks. Because if you get big thick slices, it would be hard to cut into it and eat it. This way the fork just goes right through it. Alright, that looks pretty good. Another layer of potatoes. And again, I'm trying to use like 1/3 of the total potatoes, but leave enough definitely for the top. If you have more for the top and less in the middle, that would be just fine. Nobody's going to notice a hole in the middle. Forgot the salt there, but we'll just get it on top of that. Okay, not going to forget the ham this time. Okay, so we got our last layer of potatoes. You can see, obviously, I did not save the best ones for the last. Now, I did all right and did save enough potatoes to cover the top. Now, if you're watching closely here, you may have noticed that I might have forgotten something. All right, we're going to pop that in the oven. We're going to cook that for an hour and a half, 90 minutes. Yep, and I realized finally that I forgot something. Maybe you guessed or knew what it was. I forgot the rest of the sauce. Oh well. It's in the wrong order, but it'll be close to the right place. So it was going to be tricky enough to spread this sauce, try to get it even over the top of the potatoes by itself, but with that cheese on there now, yeah. I need a holiday miracle here, I think. Kind of like trying to spread frosting with the coconut on it. I think it would probably, after it bakes, you may not be able to tell the difference, but I've got a little bit of shredded cheese left. This is a Mexican blend, but it won't matter. Just put a little bit on the top so it'll melt down on there. I could get out the rest of that cheddar, but this is already grated. I'll just throw it on. Alright, nobody will know. Except us. Alright, so I'm going to serve green salad with this, which I think will be a good contrast to that. It's going to be pretty heavy, cream and milk and cheese. So a nice green salad will be good. And of course, an easier way to do this is buy a bag salad. Probably a Caesar salad would be good with it. Of course, it only takes like 10-15 minutes to make a salad, or make salads. Too bad the dogs don't eat that, huh? Nope. Couldn't trick him. Good old Murphy. He licked it though. He tried it. He was pretty sure he wouldn't like it though. Yeah, that didn't look too good. I think that's been in the refrigerator a little long. Luckily, I have another one. Well, I guess I should call out the ingredients here. So we got romaine lettuce, hearts of romaine, which is just the center portion of the heads of the romaine lettuce. And then these are English cucumbers, which you don't need to seed or peel. Little red bell pepper. Now, of course, since this casserole takes an hour and a half to bake, there's plenty of time to make something more complicated if you wanted to. Maybe somebody will have some good ideas. They can post them in the comments about what else to serve with this. And you could just do steamed vegetables, but it seems like something fresh. I'm going to get some of that shredded cheese. Got some blue cheese in here. I'm the only one that likes blue cheese, but Got some olives, some bacon crumbles. Almost forgot tomatoes. Some Roma tomatoes. It's time to sharpen the knives. Or at least this one. Of course, I like to count out 7 olives for every salad. Make sure we all get the same amount. Somebody's going to get a little extra piece there. These bacon crumbles from Costco are one of the best deals, man. The best deal, of course, is the rotisserie chicken, but okay, so there's our salads and our dressings and our croutons and our sunflower seeds. Spot to put the casserole when it's done. Just have to wait now. Is there anything to do over here? Hey, hello, Murphy. Give the dog some love. Yeah. Timer's done. Okay. Pull this out. Oh, and I should mention at this point that about an hour in, I did check on it, and the cheese was getting done. So I put a little foil on there and a little spray oil on the inside of the foil, so it didn't stick to the cheese. And that looks like it did pretty good. So it's not overcooked. You obviously see everything bubbling there. Let's just see what the temperature looks like. That's looking good for the potatoes. That's done. Now, one thing that's really good about that. This temperature is that it's not over boiling point, so hopefully the sauce didn't break too bad. I haven't have a problem with that with these types of casseroles. Now, another way to check these is the knife method. You just poke a nice sharp knife in there, and if it just goes through and they're nice and soft, then the potatoes are done. And the knife doesn't really mess up your whole casserole, so. Okay, so now we just want to let that sit. You want to give it, 10 or 20 minutes. Let things settle down and mix together and whatever they're going to do after as they cool down a little bit. Because as you saw there, it was bubbling pretty good, so. Then in a few minutes we'll see just how broken the sauce is. I'm sure it's broke, but what I mean by broke is it separates out. But it's not, this is really not bad. I can see a little bit of yellow. You can see a little bit of the grease there in the corners. I've had other ones where it's just like, the top layer is all grease because it's the whole thing broke and the fat separated from the milk. And so this looks pretty good. Okay, one last look here at our stuff. It's ready. Time to eat. It's our cheesy ham and potato casserole. So everybody else got their plate. I'm just going to get mine. Just take a look at that, and there now is pretty dang good. You would never even know that I messed up and forgot to put the sauce on the top until after. Nobody would even know. They're going to know now if they watch the video, though. See that nice layer of ham in there. Nice cheesy creamy sauce. And then I added just a little bit of pepper and a little salt. Of course, as I said earlier, I didn't need to add salt here, so I should have tasted it first. I usually do. I don't know why I didn't. Not like it's too salty, it's just didn't need any salt. Let's get some of these potatoes. Very good. Grab some of this ham. Oh yeah. And that Black Forest ham is actually really good in there. Very tender. So there we go. Easy, cheesy ham and potato casserole. Good for any holiday meal. And a green salad. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to be notified when new videos become available.